stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top. Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man.
Emily, welcome to Coffee with Connected. We do this every Wednesday, right about now. And I'm so happy to be with you here today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here as well.
And today is National Women's Day, right?
International Women's Day.
Oh, International Women's Day.
Around the world, yep.
And I hear you're a bit of an expert in this space.
I don't know if I'm necessarily an expert, but, you know, I consider myself to be a feminist, and I like to keep up with the women's equality themes and things like that. So I like to celebrate International Women's Day.
So tell us, just give us a little history about it, and then we're going to dig deep into running your business like a boss.
So International Women's Day, it's been around since like the early 1900s. And it started with a group of women who marched through the streets of New York City demanding better pay, shorter hours, and essentially just equal like labor conditions. And then it's just grown from there.
It really has. And we've come a long way, for sure. Yeah. For sure, since the days of my mom and my grandmother.
Yeah.
So, I really am one of the first women in my family that's had like a real job, like for their whole lives.
Right. Yeah.
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 But yeah, and I think that we've come a long way. I think that there's a lot of women in the workplace now, and we, you know, I know there's a whole pay discrepancy thing, but I think we're getting better. We're getting better.
I agree. I hope. Yeah. Yeah.
I think so. So you are the executive assistant to the CEO and so much more. Can you tell us
a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything. Tell us a little bit about yourself and, you know, what you do at work.
So I am incredibly lucky that I get to be a remote executive assistant. So I get to work from home, which is fantastic. And I am up in Grand Rapids, and I'm Devin's executive assistant. So Devin, the CEO, and he's down in Indy, but it works. I can get down there in about 4 hours when I need to, which is nice. But otherwise, most of what I can do is remote, and I can do it from home. So my kind of bread and butter, and the reason why Devin and I connected, is because I'm really great at finding connections and finding ways to streamline an executive's time. And so I actually was introduced to Devin. I was going to help him find an executive assistant. And we chatted for a little bit. And then Devin, being Devin, just said, so why don't you just come and work for me? And gave me an offer that I couldn't pass down. So yeah, it started with just kind of reorganizing his inbox, his calendar, making sure that I could find him more time in his day. And now we've got a lot of our processes streamlined. So he's got a lot of other business ventures that he is involved in. So I'm helping to just kind of clean up and streamline those things. And then like, I just like to help out however. So, you know, however I can get connected, and with any of his other, you know, business dealings.
I mean, and I think that without the right support system, without the right person behind you, somebody like Devin, you know, wouldn't be where he is, because he needs that support. If you're running like 5 or 6 businesses and you're into all these different things, you need the support behind you to make that all happen. So
absolutely. Yeah. And so that's really that's kind of where I always focus, is Devin should be doing things that only Devin can do. The same with any executive, any CEO. It's really determining the value of your work. And so Devin shouldn't be doing tasks that he can delegate to me, because if he's doing his inbox and unsubscribing from emails, then that's time that he is not out there meeting people that are going to make the next connection, or
Right.
investing, or finding the people that are going to partner on his next venture or help to make Connected grow, in this instance. So it really is a matter of looking at what is something they can do versus what is something I can do. And that belief, so before I got into like remote EA work, I managed dental offices for a while. And so dentists are a very good place to start, because legally they're the only ones that can do certain work. And so
Right.
managing with a dentist, you really get that sense of, get out of the office, get out of your email, get out of the schedule, and go and do the actual work. And so I can take all of that and translate it to this kind of relationship um, with a CEO or an executive or anything like that. There's no sense in wasting your time doing something that I can do, because I can't physically, I can't run Connected.
Exactly.
Devin needs to
Exactly.
do that.
I'm wondering, like, what is your secret weapon as far as organizing your business? And Devin, what is the tool, tactic that you want to maybe share a little bit about?
So the number one thing, and it's the hardest part, but it's the thing that you have to start with, is you have to learn how to delegate. Any executive, anybody who is looking at getting time back or doing things differently or working smarter, not harder, it's all about delegating, because our brains will lie to us and say, I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the only one that can do this.
Mm,
And it's a lie, because yes, you're the one that can do it. And it might be easier right now for you to do it. But the reality of it is, if you spend 20 minutes delegating and teaching somebody how to do that, you're going to save 2 hours down the road. So I was chatting with somebody yesterday, and they're opening a store. And he's like, I'm in this like tornado of activity, and I have so much stuff to do, and I just don't even know where to start. And I was like, do you have to do everything on your to-do list? And he's like, well, no, but there's nobody else that can do it. And I'm
mm,
like, there's a lot of people around you that are just waiting for you to give them work to do.
yeah.
But he's like, it's just too hard. I just can't do it. And so I was like, take 45 minutes, write down everything you think you have to do, and then ask yourself, is that a you task or is that a someone else task? And if you say it's a you task, you have to justify it. You have to
Yeah.
prove to yourself why that's a you task and why you can't delegate it. And then I talked to him again this morning, and he's like, it's like a whole new existence. Like he's really clear now on what he needs to do to push this project forward, and what he can give to somebody else who doesn't have to be involved in the super big details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have a message here from Jack Hibbler. I'm an entrepreneur that has a hard time keeping focused. Any tips?
Absolutely. So the number one tip, and most productivity people will say this, it's about measuring and monitoring your energy as opposed to your time. So for me, I have the afternoon slump. So I'm an early bird. My son wakes up before dawn every day. No matter how long I try to get him to sleep. So I am up and ready to go early in the morning. So I do all of my deep work in the morning. And
Mm,
I'm a big fan of the Pomodoro technique and time blocking. So first thing I do every morning is I write down my list of all the things I have to get done that day. And then I figure out what can get done together, and I clump and group those things. And then I put myself in blocks. So I'll either do 25 or 50-minute blocks, depending on like how in depth I need to get. And then if it's something that really needs a lot of work, I'll block off 90 minutes and just dive in. And I do not disturb on everything. So I don't have any distractions. I don't check email. I don't look online. I don't do anything except for that work that I've told
Wow.
myself to do. Because, and this is something that blew my mind when I learned it, it takes your brain 16 minutes and 23 seconds to
Oh,
reset after an interruption.
okay. That's deep. I didn't know. I thought it was 20 minutes, but 16.3, did you say?
That's what I learned. Yeah, it was
Okay.
16.8 or 16.3 or something like that. And so if you think about it, you take 2 seconds to look away from your screen to just check that email real quick.
And you're
And
off.
you think you're going back, but it's going to take you. When I told people this, they were like, man, I feel so called out. And it's true, though. But multitasking is the biggest myth in the world. There is
And the
no
thing,
such
it's
thing.
horrible. And the thing is that phone. The phone
Yeah.
is so bad.
Yep.
Sometimes in the
So,
morning, I shouldn't be saying this, but like I'll be like, let me just like look at TikTok for a second.
okay. So that's amazing. I'm so glad you brought that up. You can do that, but just give yourself a time of when and how long. Because if you don't ever let yourself time to kind of digest or, let your brain go, you can't be on all the time. So if you say, like, you know what, I like around 9 o'clock, I like to have a TikTok break. I like to have, I'll doom scroll on Facebook for a little while. Totally fine. Just set it and make sure that you put it in a box so you can't spend 3 hours on TikTok.
Yeah.
And giving yourself that permission allows your brain to be really active when it needs to be really active
Mm.
because you're giving it that space to, daydream.
Yeah.
Yeah, just schedule it. Even Brene Brown says, it's fine to numb yourself out with Facebook for a little while as long as you're not doing it for hours and hours and hours at a time. And mindlessly. That's the other thing.
So you seem very motivated. You seem very motivated to get things done. I'm just wondering, where is that motivation coming from? I feel your energy too, that you just want to be excellent. It just seems
Yes.
I have that like sense that you want to be excellent. You're like, you're really killing it with Devin. And I mean, he's running so many businesses. He's a super successful young man.
Yeah.
And so he's got a lot of energy and you need
Hmm.
that equal energy to keep up with him. Where does your motivation come from?
Um, I really love what I do. So for like, I the role of an executive assistant, I think it's not something you can teach someone. You have to have the inherent desire to serve people and to be okay being in the background and not getting all the credit. Like
Yeah.
I can put together an amazing presentation or report with Devin, and Devin is the one that gets to share it, and Devin gets the applause, which is perfectly fine with me because this is about as much attention as I would as I would
As you
care to
really
have.
need or want, right? Mhm.
So I mean that's the first thing is, and I think it's kind of overused, but oh, no, I'm effing up my hair here. The servant leadership is it's a real thing. And to have that inherent desire to want someone else to succeed is where it all comes from. And I think I told Julie Loken with Connected that like I like to nerd out on organizational stuff. So I like calendars, I like planners. I like knowing that everything is in like a place. Um and it helps me because my personal life isn't like that. I have a 5-year-old, so it's very rare that everything is neat and tidy, at my house or in my personal life. But working for Devin, I can take all of his stuff and make sure that it's organized and clean and easy for him to just execute on.
Wow. Well, Emily, you've shared a lot with us today. I really am
Yeah.
excited about what you do. What do you want to leave our audience with as far as running your business and organizing like a boss? I mean, you have ways of time management. We heard about your servant leadership, where your motivation comes from, and then like, really understanding what your role is in allowing Devin to be as successful as he really can be. Like you're the it factor behind the scenes. I mean, you're the secret sauce behind the
Yeah.
success,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, what
So
else?
I would say, it's a lot about trust. It really is that, the best way to run your business like a boss is to find someone who you can trust unbelievably and be vulnerable enough to give over the things that you either can't or don't want to do. So Devin and I almost instantly connected and really got each other and got along right away. We worked together for 2.5 months, 3 months before we met in person. And when we actually met in person, it was just smooth. It just kept going, like it had online. But he trusts me unbelievably, hands over his life to me, says, here it is, do it. Do whatever you need to do. We joke that the only thing I don't have is his social security number, but I have just about everything, every other part of his life. Um, and he trusts me to have all of that and knows that my job is to make sure that he looks good, does good, is on top of his game. And on the flip side, I trust him the exact same amount. So I know that Devin has my back. I know that, regardless of which business venture we're working on together, that, him and I are together until he's done, until he's ready to be, not an entrepreneur anymore. And so knowing that we have that mutual respect and trust and genuine care for one another allows us both to do our jobs really, really well. And
Wow.
so that, I mean, and it's possible to find. You just have, for an executive, it is that vulnerability. It is being able to say, like, I'm okay giving all of this over to you. And we have great communication where, if I mess up something, I own it right away, and I'm the first one to like message him and be like, whoa, dude, big mistake. Screwed something up. And if he thinks that I'm not, working up to par or something like that, he just calls me out on it. And it's a really good, honest, trustworthy relationship.
I love that. That's really
Yeah.
good. Well, because
Yeah.
it allows you to come to work as your authentic self. It allows you
100%.
to like get the energy behind all that energy you have about being a
Yep.
servant leader, because if you are trusting of the person that's in charge, then you're going to do some great work.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's amazing. I think everybody aspires to working in that kind of environment. So it's amazing.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have this question here. What is the first step to getting my business in order?
So it's an interesting question because I could probably take it in about 1,000 different ways. So the first step, I would say, if you're trying to get organized and get tidy, get your stuff tidied up, I'm a big believer in lists. I'm a big believer in writing it all out. So, and when I say write it, I really mean write it. I use a Remarkable because it's like a computer, but it's handwriting on a notepad, electronic notepad. Don't type, because if you sit down at your computer and you start typing out a list, you instantly start editing because you'll get the little wavy lines and the computer tells you that you've made a mistake. If you handwrite, your brain is just able to go and you can just get it all out. Whereas typing is going to, oh, sorry, my alarms are going off. If you are typing, your brain wants to start editing. So always handwrite.
Where's this Remarkable thing? Can you show that to us?
Yeah. Here, let
What
me
is
turn it
it?
on for you. Yeah.
It's like a
So,
little. Oh.
yeah, they're amazing. Everybody at Connected has them. The like executive team and things like that. I've had one for a long time. I love it. It's so nice. You can email stuff. It converts handwriting to text.
Oh,
Really
wow.
is. It's
That's
brilliant.
really, really
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, cool. I'm gonna check that
Remarkable.
out.
Absolutely. So that's my first thing is write it out. Get it out of your brain.
Yeah.
And then get in the habit of I call it the brain dump, and I do it every morning and I do it every night. So I just write out all the things that are in my brain, and then I can classify them for the day and decide where they go on my to-do list. And then at night, I do it before I'm done with work, so that I don't go to bed thinking about all of the things I have to do.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so that's really your first step is figuring out where you're stuck. Like if you need to get it in order, figure it out by, what am I stuck with? So
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we have heard so many great tips, tricks, and stories from you, Emily, today that I'm excited for the connected team and all that you bring to the team. And there's a lot to be learned from you.
Well, thank you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great. Thank you so much for being on Coffee with Connected. Guys, join us next week where we're going to have an amazing guest. And I will let you know who that guest is shortly. Check out our invitation for next week. Same time, same place. Bye, everyone.
Bye.